It's never been defined as just one thing. So why limit the vast possibilities of digital intelligence to a single category? Like its counterpart in the physical world, computing-enabled intelligence isn't just one thing. It's a collection of ever-evolving capabilities. Capabilities that combine to improve our readiness to adapt and change, to recognize and solve problems, to benefit and learn from experience, and to acquire and apply new knowledge. All of which means digital intelligence isn't so much like a new kind of light bulb as it is a new kind of electricity. At Intel, we're leveraging the power of digital intelligence to introduce generation after generation of new technologies that improve the world for individuals, businesses, and society as a whole. After all, the digital revolution isn't just about new devices and algorithms. It's about leveraging technology-based intelligence in all its forms across the entire spectrum of computing, from the cloud, to the network, to the edge, to you. That's innovation through intelligence.
Please welcome Chief Executive Officer, Intel, Bob Swan.
Wow. Happy New Year. Good afternoon. This is the part where you participate. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Welcome. And thank you very much for spending some time with us today. My name's Bob Swan. It's a pleasure for me to be here. I'm going to do a little bit of an introduction, a little bit of stage setting before I invite Naveen Shenoy and Gregory Bryant up to talk about how we're deploying some of the innovations and technologies with our ecosystem partners. What we're going to hear from us is what we characterize innovation through intelligence, and what we believe Intel's role in conjunction with our ecosystem partners, which is to power generation after generation of new technologies that change the world and enrich the lives of every human on Earth. So our ambitions are rather big. But we've been at this for a while. Since our founding 51 years ago, Intel, with its ecosystem partners, has been leading this computer revolution. And over that time frame, we've gone from a mainframe to a PC, to a mobile device, to a server, to the cloud, to a world today that increasingly everything looks more and more and acts more and more like a computer. And that's happened through relentless innovation. Relentless innovation to bring new things to life by developing Moore's Law and the scaling abilities and new architectures that allow us to introduce new technologies never thought to be possible. Let me put it into context a little bit, just in terms of the devices that exist today. In 2019, there were 38 billion devices connected to the network. And that's expected to grow to 56 billion devices by 2025. So a lot of devices and a lot of growth in those devices over time. Roughly 75% of those devices will be Internet of Things. So think about 56 billion devices. That's roughly 7 per human on the planet of devices being carried around or being leveraged to enrich the experiences that we have. To put it into context, 7 devices per individual, billions of devices creating things. And those things that are being created is called data. Over that same time frame, our expectations is there'll be 175 zettabytes growing at roughly 25% year on year between now and 2025. 175 zettabytes of data in 2025 being created. Now, I'm sure a lot of you over the holidays spent a little time consuming HD content. Anybody in the room consume some HD content? A couple of you. 175 zettabytes of data created is equal to 6.5 billion years of HD content. So a lot of data is being created by these billions and billions of connected devices. And over this time frame, roughly 50% of that data will be created by devices at the edge, spanning smart devices, wearables, smart industrial factories, technology being deployed to make retail shopping experiences greater, and connected cars. 50% of the data that will be created will be from these billions of connected, intelligent devices at the edge. And only 1% of that data today is being processed by artificial intelligent models. We are only just getting started in terms of the amount of data that's being created and leveraged to create new and better experiences around the globe. All this data that's being created, something needs to be done with it. And the implications for silicon and for the technology that we develop is the data, everything needs to be processed. It needs to be processed to make the data more relevant, more useful. And more data needs to be stored. And it can't be stored for retrieval over time, but readily accessible immediately. And third, more and more that data needs to move faster and faster within and between networks so that it can be processed again. And this is a world where we have been playing for 51 years. Process everything with advancements in compute, store and retrieve things faster and faster, and move data around networks more and more. And if you take the incredible growth of data and the need to process, store, and move faster, those are being enabled by what we characterize as 3 emerging technologies that we believe will have an incredible impact on the technology of today and the technology platform for years to come. And those 3 technologies are 5G, artificial intelligence, and intelligent edge, or intelligent devices at the edge. And these technologies are not standalone technologies. They're actually reinforcing. For example, 5G increasingly is a part and required because of the billions and billions of connected devices at the edge. And AI is making 5G and this convergence of compute to communications to be more and more relevant. Secondly, these billions of intelligent devices at the edge need to be able to have more and more compute closer to them. So not only are 5G is an enabling intelligent devices, but intelligent devices are putting challenges on developing the technologies for AI and for 5G. So they're not independent technology inflections. On the contrary, they're self-reinforcing for each other. And the challenge and our role is to fuel silicon technology and software at the core at each and every one of these key technologies. So what we've been focused on is how do we embed intelligence into everything that we make to enrich the experiences for consumers and the capabilities of our enterprise clients and ecosystem partners. We're simply embedding intelligence across everything that we do. And we're investing in technologies across all three of 5G, AI, and intelligent edge organically and acquisitively to ensure that we can meet the needs and the demands of our global ecosystem partners and consumers around the world. And we feel like we're only just getting started. And our capabilities have been enhanced by acquisitions we made along the way. Nirvana, or neural network processing, a couple years ago, the acquisition of Mobileye and computer vision, an acquisition of Movidius to add consumer vision technologies at the edge, and most recently an acquisition of Habana. We are making investments across all three of these technology inflections because the expectations that we have for us is to make the world a better place and to enrich the lives of every consumer on the earth. I want to give you just a couple of examples before I hand it off to Naveen and GB that underscore what we characterize as world-changing, but even life-saving technologies being deployed at the edge. So I want to kind of start with transportation and where compute-based intelligence can literally be a matter of life or death, or bringing technology to society for good. We acquired Mobileye back in 2017, and the intent was to lead a transportation revolution with the goal of saving lives. And we've been using a unique approach combining what we call our RSS model, which is a publicly available framework that standardizes the decision-making process of a robo-car. And it's been made publicly available so the universe can adopt the same kind of standards over time. And that RSS technology, coupled with true redundancy, in which we build robocars with independent sensing systems, cameras, radar, and LiDAR technology, is what we've been able to do and build. And I want to just show you a clip of what we believe is the power of the approach of RSS and redundancies in bringing autonomous driving to life. Now you'll see, hopefully you can see a video behind me. And this is our robocar navigating a challenging intersection in Jerusalem. Has anybody driven in Jerusalem or been in a car in Jerusalem? I've had a chance to be in a car in Jerusalem, and fortunately, I was not driving because it is not safe. But what you can see here, this is a Mobileye car pulling up to an intersection. And you see it coming in, sensing, RSS, sensing what's going on around it using cameras and technology to make a determination of when do I move out into this street and when is it safe for me to move forward. Now again, I had a chance to do this, and they told me I was going to get in this car, and I said, not on your life am I getting in this car. But we went through the highways of Jerusalem, the city streets of Jerusalem, and all the chaos around it. And I was much more comfortable letting Intel Mobileye technologies move this car forward than I would have ever been sitting behind the wheels of a car. So it's been pretty impressive what the team has been able to do. And we're not stopping there. We're building an entire stack to become a mobility service provider. And our goal is simple. To bring innovative technologies and intelligence to revolutionize transportation by deploying the power of compute and of AI. That's one example. The next example I want to share with you is applying intelligence to disaster relief. Intel has partnered with the American Red Cross, essentially to improve disaster relief around the globe. Many developing countries today do not have complete digital maps, things that we increasingly take for granted. And therefore, it's extremely hard for rescue workers to use information to be able to get to the danger zones. it makes the relief work extremely difficult without having these maps. Well, we've deployed our second-gen Xeon scalable processors, combined with intelligence of Intel employees who volunteered over 1,000 hours, were used to improve the relief efforts by the heroes on the ground. I want to share a video with you about how.
After Hurricane Maria hit Puerto Rico, I was on the ground in 24 hours as part of the first group of Red Crossers that went down to the ground. And one of the very first things that we discovered was that everyone was trying to navigate using their phones.
As somebody who's been on the ground using mapping software, it's extremely important to have accurate maps. We've run into situations where roads have been destroyed, and what could have been a 20-minute drive for one of our drivers was a 5-hour drive. Trying to get food to communities where there isn't food, those are some big challenges for us.
So the reality is, we're blessed in the United States, we're blessed in Europe, we have a map. I've been to villages in Africa and in Asia where we are literally for the first time digitizing that map. A couple years ago, we got together with Intel and they were curious about how they could help us, saying, hey, I think a computer can do this better.
We set out to build up what we would call a computer vision model that can be used to take in as an input a satellite image and then spit out on the backside the location of a bridge if there was a bridge in the image. We started off with Uganda. When we look at the amount of time it takes an individual mapper to hand draw all the roads, waterways, and bridges in that tile, that time period is roughly around 13 minutes. However, if we run that tile through our model that's already been trained, we can generate predictions in seconds per tile. So for us to scan the entirety of southern Uganda and generate those predictions, we did that in just a couple hours.
Technology and AI in particular is making things just that little bit faster. Disasters are changing. They're getting more complex, they're getting bigger, they're getting faster. They're getting harder to respond to. And that's why we need more tech tools to help us out.
This is just another example of how we can use technologies to have a real impact on the world. Today, the challenges we face in a global society are just getting more and more complex. They're getting bigger, they're getting tougher and harder to solve. It's just worth pausing for a moment to recognize the efforts when we're talking about rescue missions, the efforts of the first responders in Australia, and the role that they're playing to try to eradicate the situation in Australia that's having a real impact. So I think it'd be remiss if we didn't just pause to recognize the role of the first responders, to thank them and send our prayers and well wishes for their safety. At Intel, we recognize the responsibility that we have for groundbreaking technology and to deploy technology tools, and to do so in a way that enriches the lives of every person on Earth. That's our ambitions. That's what we've been focused on for the first 51 years of the company's in existence, and our expectations we have of ourselves as we deploy technologies going forward. So now Naveen and GB are going to come and tell you more about how we're innovating through intelligence to positively impact society, to positively impact business, and to positively impact people. So join me, give a round of applause for Naveen to come out. Good pace. Good pace.
Good to see you. Good to see you. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Hey.
Oh, we got it. Okay, yeah. Happy New Year. Great to see you. Let me just add my welcome to CES. As Bob mentioned, I want to talk a little bit about the economy that we live in today, the data economy, and the way in which it's transforming businesses in profound ways. One of the behind-the-scenes forces that makes the data economy happen is, of course, the data center. And Intel technology has been at the heart of the data center for decades. Over the last few years, we've been investing to expand from the central data center to the network, to the edge, to every person on the planet, across every industry imaginable. And I'll take you through just a few examples of that today. And I wanted to start in the first example in intelligence transforming the way we experience entertainment. Just 10 years or so ago, most of us had cable or satellite TV, and many of us would head on a Friday night to the local video store and rent a movie. Fast forward to today, and I don't know about you over the holidays, we could binge watch just about anything we wanted, any number of TV shows, movies, and user-generated content through streaming services. In fact, the creation, consumption, and transmission of video represents about 80% of internet traffic around the world. And as more people cut the cord and 4K and 8K services combined with 5G with higher bandwidth and lower latency, we expect that video will continue to be the killer app of the internet for a long time to come. Now, one of the most recognizable names in video content delivery, of course, is Netflix. Last year, Intel and Netflix announced a collaboration for our next generation open source encoding and decoding technology optimized for second generation Xeon scalable processors. This is incredibly important to ensure that the quality and the cost of these services continues to improve. To share more on the partnership that we have with Netflix, I'd like to welcome Netflix's Director of Encoding Technologies and one of Forbes' top 50 women in technology, Ann Aaron, to the stage. Welcome, Ann.
Hi.
So technology innovation has been helping Netflix obviously transform for many years, and you've been busy expanding your reach to all corners of the world. How have you been at Netflix able to navigate through these changes and still remain successful?
Well, at Netflix, we only do one thing, entertainment, and we aim to do it really well. We live and breathe TV and films. We want everyone to enjoy them too, whether it's an easy escape or something that provokes debate. We're also obsessed with improving the consumer experience, whether that's no ads, complete control over when you watch and how you watch, better discovery, more enhanced sound and picture quality, or even pioneering new formats like interactive TV. And today, we're just scratching the surface of what's possible. We know that if we stay focused on consumers, we're confident that more people in more countries will choose Netflix for their entertainment.
So what role do the technologies that we announced together last year, the video codecs, play in your ability to continue to enhance the consumer experience, Ann?
Yeah, Naveen, video codecs are a crucial innovation that help deliver a better experience for Netflix members. It's important now and also into the future because it enables better streaming quality at lower bit rates. That means we can send smaller files without compromising video quality. With better compression technology, we can offer more efficient services with existing infrastructure.
And so where is the industry headed then with regard to more efficient codecs over time?
The industry collaboration on the royalty-free codec AV1 has delivered up to 60% better compression efficiency over the legacy codec AVC, and is poised for notable adoption starting this year.
Now, the collaboration we announced, can you speak a little bit to the business transformation that you expect to see? Because this one was about the sort of next generation of AV1. We call it SVT AV1, or Scalable Video Technology AV1. Can you talk more about what you see there?
That's right. When we were looking at the AV1 ecosystem, we realized that there was a need for a clean reference encoder that could be used by developers today, as well as could serve as a code base for next generation codec research. At Netflix, we decided that this was a problem we wanted to lean into. At about the same time, fortunately, Intel started developing its own open source SVT AV1 codec. So we decided to just join forces where we could each dedicate our expertise to different parts of the project. And thanks to our joint efforts, the optimizations on Intel Xeon have yielded significant quality and performance gains, making SVT AV1 ready for commercial deployment. You can expect to see AV1 adoption not only at Netflix, but from many others in 2020, thanks to the collaboration with Intel.
Anne, thank you very much. I look forward to continuing to collaborate with Netflix in the future. Thank you for being here. Now, when it comes to intelligence transforming businesses, there's perhaps no more profound change happening than in artificial intelligence. We believe that AI hardware will be a massive opportunity for the industry, a $25 billion opportunity by 2024. And at Intel, our strategy has been to provide customers with a heterogeneous set of choices to fit all of their needs at every power level, every performance level, from the edge to the data center. And the breadth of this portfolio approach that we've taken over the last few years is what enabled us to deliver $3.5 billion in AI revenue in 2019. Last year, I announced here at CES the Intel Neural Network Processor for Inference, an entirely new class of AI chip built specifically to solve our customer inference problems. NNPI is already delivering impressive results here. Versus our competitors, we're seeing up to a 1.6x improvement on natural language processing workloads and up to a 3.7x improvement in overall system-level performance. We're launching this product later this quarter, and we expect the NNPI to deliver performance per watt leadership in a 75-watt power envelope. Now, the AI market is obviously adapting and evolving very quickly, and we're investing, as Bob mentioned, to win here. We believe it's going to take multiple technology types to truly solve the complex problems our customers are dealing with. And to that end, last month we announced the acquisition of Habana Labs. Habana offers a programmable AI solution with a common architecture between training and inference. And we're excited about the capabilities that Habana is going to bring to our portfolio. We expect to see and announce exciting news about the Habana product line later this year. While dedicated AI products get a lot of the buzz in the industry, it isn't the only solution. The Intel Xeon Scalable Processor, in many ways, is the intelligence foundation for enterprises around the world. More data center AI runs on Xeon than on any other platform. In fact, Xeon is the only general-purpose processor with AI built in. A few years ago, we infused AI capability into Xeon for both training and inference, starting with AVX 512 and our first-generation Intel Xeon Scalable Processor. Last year, we continued that development and evolved by adding Intel Deep Learning Boost into the second-generation Xeon Scalable. And with Deep Learning Boost, we saw an incredible 30x improvement in AI inference processing done on Xeon. And I'm happy to report that in 2019, this workload-specific acceleration has helped make the second-generation Xeon Scalable our fastest ramping Xeon in our history. Later this year, with our third-generation Xeon Scalable, which is on track, we will be extending DL Boost with new enhancements for AI that will provide up to 60% increase in not just inference performance, but also for training performance. Last year at CES, we gave you an example of how AI on Xeon is being used for new use cases, emerging use cases that are fairly compelling and interesting. And one of the examples we gave you last year was 3D athlete tracking. We announced our intent to bring 3D athlete tracking, or 3DAT, to the Tokyo Olympics this year. As a reminder, 3D athlete tracking, it's a first-of-its-kind computer vision solution that uses AI to enhance the viewing experience with near real-time insight and visualization. 3DAT uses cameras to capture the athletes. It applies algorithms, and then it optimizes that solution using DL Boost to analyze the form, the motion, the biomechanics of the athletes. There's no special suits, there's no special sensors, just the data and the AI. I'm excited today to announce that this technology is going to be used to provide broadcasters the ability to broadcast events like the 100-meter dash and other sprinting events at the 2020 Olympic Games. There's incredible challenges here when you think about the 100-meter dash. You have to separate the athletes from the coaches and the spectators. You have to correctly identify each of the 8 athletes across multiple different camera angles. And that's all before that data is then fed into the skeletal tracking models to extract the body position, the velocity, the relative position of the athlete on the track. And then all of that has to be sent to the broadcasters in under 30 seconds so that they can do the replays immediately after the event. So the second generation Xeon Scalable with DL Boost is what's going to provide the performance necessary to meet those demanding SLAs. Now, the intelligence delivered by 3DAT is also being used to enhance the way the US Olympic athletes train. And instead of me telling you about this, I thought it'd be interesting to hear from a real Olympian. So to tell us about how 3DAT intelligence is transforming the way Olympic athletes are training, I'd like to welcome 2-time Olympic decathlon gold medalist Ashton Eaton. Great to see you, Ashton.
Good to be here.
Show us
So
the
the
processors.
decathlon, your event,
What the fuck
10
Intel?
events. But I heard your favorite event, and the one where you hold the decathlon world record, is the long jump.
That's right.
What was that world record?
27 feet, give or take a few grains of
I
sand.
thought
maybe.
it'd be fun to show you guys what 27 feet looks like.
All right.
And this is how far Ashton jumped.
Are you
We're
sure that's
standing-
27?
We're standing 27 feet apart right now. So that's what he was able to do. Doesn't that blow your mind? So yeah. So Ashton, maybe you could tell the audience about what the training process
3D
is like
athlete
for an
tracking,
Olympic level
yeah.
athlete like yourself.
Yeah, of
For
course.
sure.
My
Yeah,
ass.
typical week, we train Monday through Saturday.
Intel is just
And
done.
we'd spend about
They're
20
just
hours doing stuff
bullshitting.
on the track. We'd spend about 5 hours a week doing stuff in the weight room, and then about 10 hours on recovery. So all told, you're looking at 30, 40 hours a week on performance.
So that kind of sounds like a full-time job.
Definitely felt like it.
And speaking of jobs, you're actually an Intel employee now, isn't that right?
Yeah, that's right.
So what are you working on, and why Intel?
Actually, this last summer, Intel invited myself and a bunch of other Olympians out to Olympic Day on campus in California. And that's where I met the 3DAT project team lead. And I asked him what he was working on, and he said,
Sorry guys,
well,
I'm
we're
just
working on a
adjusting
system
the
that can
volume so you
track
can hear
and
me.
analyze human motion without the need for the athletes to wear sensors. And I was like totally shocked that was even possible, so I just started drilling him with questions. And eventually actually invited me to the lab to see the work. And after the tour, asked if I wanted to help bring it to life. And so I saw it as an opportunity to work with a technology leader on human performance, and said absolutely.
That's great. And so I understand the U.S. Olympic team is now using 3DAT to enhance the training process. We have some video from the last training session
Yeah.
At the Chula Vista Elite Athlete Training Center.
Yeah.
What benefit do you see 3DAT providing to Olympic athletes?
I think sport is so fascinating and important because it's about seeking and celebrating human potential. I think through sport, we actually answer the question, or try to answer the question, what is our species capable of? And we try to answer that by improving our performance. The way athletes do that today, well, actually, I think this technology has the capability to take us to the next level. And the reason I think that is because today, the way athletes get better is they go to a training session, they'll do a dozen or more attempts at an event, and you multiply that by 5 or 6 days a week, by a 40-week training year, and then by probably a 10-year career, and you're looking at 30 to 50,000 data points on each event that they're doing. And the way the athletes improve, which is, it's amazing how far we've come doing this, is largely by 3 factors. What they felt during the attempt, what the result was, and what the coach saw. I think that 3DAT could be the 4th factor in advancing human performance by bringing precision analysis to human motion. So now when an athlete runs down the runway in the long jump and tries to jump 27 feet, they'll not only know what they felt, what the result was, what the coach saw, but what every single part of their body was doing at every moment in time. And apply that over the tens of thousands of attempts an athlete will do in their career, there's an incredible amount that we're going to learn about how to improve. And once they apply that knowledge, I think the sky's the limit.
That's awesome. Well, this is really exciting stuff. Thanks for being here.
My pleasure.
And we'll see you here on campus.
That's right.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
See ya. So bringing intelligent insight into the way athletes train is just one way intelligence, I think, is transforming sports. Many of us also enjoy watching sports, and if you think about it, the typical sports viewing experience hasn't really changed in the last decade or maybe even in the last 2 decades. And so what I'd like to do now is to share a little bit more about how the intelligent edge, distributed computing are now helping us evolve the way sporting experience is going to be viewed. And to do that, I'd like to welcome Vice President, General Manager of Intel Sports, James Caruana, to the stage. How you doing, man? Good to see you.
Well, you talked about how the experience of sports hasn't changed over the last couple decades, but we find ourselves at a time that consumer demands have greatly shifted, really evidenced by how fans create, interact, and share content experiences. So think about Snapchat, TikTok, Twitch. These are platforms where fans are becoming their own producer, and they're valuing real-time and interactivity. So here you have fans that are telling us how they want to interact with sports content. And what we hear, the more we talk to them, is that fans are looking to see the game from their own perspective, whether that's the quarterback, the wide receiver, a safety, or a referee. And the content creators are looking for the capability to share their unique insight with their followers. And hell, Naveen, if you could sit on your couch, have a live game on the TV in front of you, be able to pick up a controller and interact with the content like it's a video game. These are the types of experiences that we're working with the sports leagues to create.
So this seems pretty cool. How does it all work?
Well, the baseline here is really volumetric video. It's the technology platform that allows fans the capability to lean in and interact, or lean back and get a personalized feed. So how it works, instead of placing cameras at a few strategic locations on a field and cutting from camera to camera to camera, as in traditional production, we place cameras around the circumference of a venue. And with those cameras, we capture the visual information not as a 2-dimensional pixel, but rather as a 3-dimensional voxel. And when you capture the information as a 3-dimensional voxel, it gives you the capability to see the action, to show the action from any perspective on the field. And this is that underlying capability.
So you've been at this for a few years now, right?
Yeah.
So tell us what progress you've made.
Well, we've made some pretty fantastic progress. Our goal is to be able to achieve high-quality, cloud-based, streaming volumetric video. It's a mouthful. And we started in 2017 with what I'll call a mid-quality, on-premise, single-frame solution. And we decided to evolve speed first, quality second, towards our goal. And I'd like to kind of walk us through that process. So in 2017, we could produce a volumetric frame in 3 minutes. And with this volumetric frame, we would create broadcast enhancements like the one you're about to see here from the NBA. You have a traditional 2D feed, you go into a volumetric frame, and from there you fly the virtual camera and see perspectives where there isn't a physical camera. Now, we've been producing these broadcast enhancements. It started out with 3 minutes per frame. In 2018, we sped that up by a factor of 6 to 30 seconds per volumetric frame. And in 2019, we made a big jump, like as you said, taking advantage of distributed computing, computing at the edge, computing in the cloud, and we sped things up by a factor of 900x. So now we can produce volumetric frames instead of 30 seconds per frame, 30 frames per second. And with that, we've achieved the world's first large-scale, cloud-based streaming volumetric video platform. And it was really a monumental challenge for us because we had to push computing and networking to its edge to be able to process this amount of data. And what I'd like to show now is the output. I think that's what we all want to see, right? And I'd like to show you what now a mid-quality, cloud-based streaming volumetric video platform produces. And on a screen of this size, you'll get some pixelation, so you'll have to excuse us right now with that.
Cool, let's take a look.
All right. So you've got a Week 15 game here. This is the Cardinals and the Browns. And what you're seeing here is a virtual camera. There is no physical camera pointing at the field at this location. And this was produced in the cloud, streaming at 30 frames per second, and then the 2D stream came back down to Earth. And in order to do this, we had to process a ton of data. So the raw cameras produce 67 gigabytes of data per second. And that data gets pre-processed, compressed, sent up to the cloud. Once in the cloud, we spin up hundreds of machines to create the three-dimensional model. And then once we have that model, we can produce any number of streams with just a handful of additional streams like the one that you're seeing right here.
So what happens if we remove the bottlenecks of computing that you have today? What could you do?
Well, I talked a little bit before about some of the use cases that volumetric video can attack. A fan who wants to lean in and interact with content, a fan who wants to lean back and get a personalized experience, or a content creator who's looking to share their own personal perspective to their followers. So what we could do is take our current technology capability and really map it against some of these use cases to better illustrate those points. So what you have here is a little GUI that we mocked up, where on the left-hand side, you see examples of various streams that a professional or a casual producer could create. And with volumetric video, we can create infinite perspectives, any location, any position on the field. So as an example, we can show what is it like to be the quarterback during the snap. There is no camera on the quarterback. This is entirely created from our 3D model of the game. But let's say you love defense, right? What about seeing things from the safety's perspective? And let's say you want to go up a little bit higher, call it the bird's eye view camera, but again, from the defensive side, a view that you'll traditionally very rarely see. And I hope what you're seeing here is that the promise of volumetric video has in sports. We figured out the speed portion of the puzzle. Now we got to work on the quality portion of the puzzle. And that's where I think we've got to work really, really closely together, because to get from where we are at this mid-quality level to the high-quality level, we need to increase our computing by a factor of 6x. And that will allow us to go from a perspective of HD 20 yards from a player to a perspective of HD 6 yards from a player.
So you need 6 times more computing power.
Can you bring it?
I think we can do that.
All right.
Thanks,
Look forward
James.
to it.
Thanks
Thank
for
you,
being
Naveen.
here. Appreciate it. Okay, so that's a quick look at some pretty amazing examples, I think, of how Intel is bringing the advantages of digital intelligence to the world from behind the scenes with our technology. But that's, of course, only one side of the story. To realize the full possibilities, we also have to advance the technologies and experiences on the client. And to do that, let me hand things over to GB.
All right. Hey, afternoon, everyone. I think that was just incredible stuff, and I'm excited to be here at CES again this year with all of you, and I want to share our plans to really drive excitement and new experiences in the PC. You know, we see the PC as an intelligent platform that helps enable people's greatest contribution. You know, the thing that's unique about the PC is it's where people go to focus, it's where they go to achieve more, it's where they go to do the things that matter the most to them. That's what makes it unique. And what makes Intel unique, increasingly, is our ability to innovate and optimize solutions at a platform level. Let's take a look. So hey, our mission is to advance the PC experience across the entire industry. And that's why we started on a multi-year journey that we call Project Athena to drive that innovation. And that was really driven off of deep human-level understanding of how people use their devices. And it's more ambitious than anything that we've done in the industry before. And for the first time, we developed a specification with all of our partners, many of whom are here today, to really deliver on the key experiences that people care about the most, so that people know when they get a Project Athena-based device, they can be certain that it's been tuned, tested, and verified to actually deliver on that experience. And like all of our products that are, including Project Athena, we have the widest application compatibility and hardware compatibility to give you the best experience in the industry. So the response has been tremendous, and I'm incredibly proud to be standing here today and tell you that in less than a year, we have already verified 25 new Project Athena unique base devices that I have here on stage with me today. Now, what's even more impressive than just the number is really the breadth of designs from consumer all the way to commercial, and they're really setting a new standard for mobile computing in the industry. Now, for consumers, that means 9+ hours of battery life, but like in real working conditions, actually using the device. Or of course, more than 16 hours of continuous local video playback. It means better responsiveness and performance, right? Helping launch applications faster, less time spent when you're going in between tasks, keeping you in the flow and keeping you focused. It also means fast charging capabilities, getting 4 more hours of battery life in just 30 minutes of charging. And then absolutely no lag time. All of those devices on stage, when you open the lid, will resume from standby in less than 1 second, and many more things. And in the commercial space, in addition to all that, we've got vPro capabilities and enhanced security and manageability for professionals and IT professionals all around the world. So with that, I did want to have Chuck and I just to quickly highlight a couple of designs that are new launching at CES right here today, and you've got a consumer example.
Yep, so here's the Acer Swift 3. It's thin, it's light, with a screen-to-body ratio of nearly 85%. It's incredibly immersive.
Yeah, it's a great consumer example, and I know you have one commercial example I really love.
Yeah, I love this one. Now, this is the HP Dragonfly Elite. It's also very thin, 360-degree hinge, built-in privacy screen, and also the first laptop that uses plastic recycled from the ocean as part of the construction process. Extremely cool.
Wow, that's really unique. Let's give him a hand. I think that's great. Now, the momentum for Project Athena is continuing in 2020. We now have over 120 companies onboarding, helping us drive all this innovation. And together with our partners, we're committed to doubling down and doubling the number of designs in 2020 to over 50. But our ambitions for Project Athena are even greater. We're going to continue to add partners and experiences, and I'm pleased to announce one today. You know, we've been working with Google now for years, from the very beginning, and we started really working with them to bring the highest performance experience possible to Chromebooks based on Intel Core-based processors in their Chromebooks laptops. Now, what I'm excited here today is to say we have extended our partnership with Google to include Project Athena for the first time, which means you're going to get all the leading security, manageability, ease of use, and nearly 3 million applications in the Google Play Store all together on exciting new Project Athena devices. All right? Yeah? Pretty cool? And further, I have the privilege today, it's not just a partnership, of actually launching the first 2 Project Athena verified Chromebooks on stage with me. And Chuck, you've got them right here, right?
Exactly. So we have the Asus Stylus, the Asus Flipbook, the C436, again, incredibly stylish. And also, we have the brand new Galaxy Chromebook from Samsung, also very stylish, 9.9 millimeters thin.
That's right.
4K AMOLED screen. The colors are vivid, the screen is bright, and you get all the benefits that GB just told you with
That's
Athena.
Right. Super immersive, brand new display, great technology. Thanks, Chuck. And that's just the start. You know, you can expect us to drive more designs, more innovation all through the year in 2020. So where do we go from here? Now, you can expect a lot of new innovation from us going forward, but there's 2 areas in particular I just want to highlight today. One is connectivity, and the second is form factor. So in the space of connectivity, you already know that we drive industry-leading integration of Wi-Fi 6 in our PC platforms, and now also LTE-based module solutions. But we're going to go beyond that and extend 5G support into our PCs. Now, in fact, if you weren't watching over the holidays, in November, we announced a new partnership with MediaTek to deliver 5G modems in a module with us, optimized for our PC platforms. And we're making great progress, and we expect those solutions in samples to be out to our customers in Q3 of this year. So doing some great work there. Second, in form factor innovation, we came up on this stage at CES last year and then at Computex in the middle of the year, talking about innovation in the form factor and in dual screens in particular. And today, I'm pleased to announce that we have actually released a new Project Athena-based specification for dual screen devices to all of our OEMs. But instead of just talking about the specification, I wanted to do something special and invite somebody out to show some of the innovation, including a product that they're launching here at CES announcing today, and that's the president of Lenovo's commercial PC division and smart device business. Please join me in welcoming Christian Theismann. Christian, you want to come on out? There he is.
Hey, GB, Happy New Year. How are you?
Good, I'm doing great. It's good to see you. So, what do you have for us today?
Well, first of all, congratulations to all these Athena devices.
Thank you.
It's great. We're also announcing 2 devices basically today. One on the consumer side, our Yoga Slim 7 platform.
That's right.
And on the commercial side, our famous ThinkPad X1 Carbon in the next generation.
No, that's right.
Very excited.
And you guys have been part of Project Athena from the very beginning.
From the very beginning.
And the co-engineering's been great. But I know you have something new and special that you wanted to show today.
Well, about 4 years ago, we chartered a joint project to really come up with a radical PC innovation for a new generation of power users who really want to have an all-day device and using it throughout all day scenarios. And I'm very excited that today is the day where Lenovo and Intel are jointly announcing the world's first foldable PC.
Wow. All right, let's give him a hand. That's great. Thank you, Christian. That's beautiful.
So this is a full performance PC device based on Intel's Core hybrid technology.
That's right.
It's 5G capable. It's a 13.3 OLED device, less than 1 kilo.
Wow.
And it's really built for all-day computing. You can use it really as basically a tablet. You can use it really to compare things.
You're doing this very well, by the way. This is
Thank you.
difficulty.
You can also use it as a video conferencing device where you also have supporting information on the second screen. So you have a dual screen device in one screen. You can use it with a pen to draw while you still receive information.
That's right.
You have an inboard keyboard, but you also have an external keyboard. And at the end of the day, when you go to bed, you'll still have a book.
Very, very good.
So
that's fantastic.
We're very excited about this. This is a new category of devices we are launching today.
That's fantastic. Thank you, Christian, very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thanks for all the great co-engineering work. Absolutely beautiful. And appreciate being able to do the announcement today with us. And hey, and going forward, we're going to continue to drive innovation in the form factor and display. And I've got another example that I wanted to share to you today that we've been working with our partners at Dell to drive even larger size dual screen devices for productivity and creativity. And they've agreed to let us give you a sneak preview of that device on stage here today. So Chuck, you're going to do that?
Absolutely. So as you were saying, our partners in Intel are really working on making sure, Dell, exactly, making sure these systems are easy to use and also very productive. So this looks like a standard laptop at first blink, but keyboard comes off, goes underneath, and you can see we have now 2 large screens to work with.
Very good.
Now, we have 2 applications here. We've got a browser and we got notes. If you want to move those applications around, it's just really a simple move to move them back and forth. I can then launch an application on the second one. And again, if I want to take and spread an application across 2 screens, I can have all that. And even though I start at the top, I can pin it to the bottom. And so you can see, when you're done, one thin device to work with.
Fantastic, fantastic. Thank you, Chuck, very much. Really appreciate that. And thanks to our partners at Dell for letting us show that on stage today. Now, the Lenovo X1 device and the Dell Concept Duet, which is the platform Chuck just showed you, are really showing the promise of advanced usages in the PC. And you can also count on us, just like we did here at CES and at Computex last year, to continue to drive innovation forward. And I've got the privilege of showing you something no one's ever seen before from us. which is our new concept platform, the code name of which is Horseshoe Bend. And this device was specifically based on research that we did that suggested that users wanted an even larger foldable device for enhanced productivity and creativity. And surprise, we've got the corporate vice president of our mobile platforms group, Chris Walker, on stage to join me to show this thing off. So Chris, you want to?
Hey, I'm super excited to be able to share and show the world's first 17-inch foldable OLED PC as we create what's next in the laptop in 2-in-1. Now, as a concept platform, allows us to continue to push boundaries on what's next and solve engineering at a platform level. So we imagine more immersive browsing experiences. So as I'm planning my vacation, yeah, I get to go on vacation, I can pick an activity, right? Really get into it. Now, while I'm watching the video, I can continue to learn more about the destination or the activity, seamlessly. Now, as good as this looks, it looks even better when you go full screen. So now,
wow,
I'm in full screen video.
Love it.
And I have a full 17-inch desktop that you can use with keyboard, mouse, like you talked with Christian about. Right. Because you always have me on the go, I can take this 17-inch laptop with me all the time. Folds up, it's a footprint of an ultra thin and light 13-inch system.
That's fantastic.
So we're super excited. It's so much fun to be able to partner with our partners in the industry and get this done and invent what's next in laptops on Intel.
Great.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks, Chris. I
Yeah,
appreciate it.
awesome.
Thank you. Thank you. Give you a hand. Okay, I'm going to shift gears now because at the heart of all these wonderful platforms is a world-leading CPU. And last year I got on stage and we previewed our 10th generation Core products mobile processor called Ice Lake. And as you remember, we built industry-leading AI performance into that processor. So I've got a special treat that I wanted to do differently for you because everybody asked me about AI, machine learning on the PC. Why is it important? I've got a guest with me today. He's the principal worldwide evangelist for Adobe, Jason Levine, and he's going to show you some creative experiences that we've unlocked on Ice Lake with integrated AI. So Jason, you want to come out?
See you.
Jason, good to see you.
Good to see you too.
I secretly wish I had that hair. Anyway. So hey, I know you've got this thing ready to go to show some great experiences based on AI.
Yes.
So why don't you take it away?
All right, so even before I start, so how many of you are Photoshop users? Thousands of hands.
Wow.
We thank you. So I'm going to showcase today some very super cool AI powered by Adobe Sensei, driven by the power of the 10th generation Intel on this amazing thin and light device, which really solves a lot of the issues that Photoshop users and designers face every day. And the first is quite simply making selections, right? So here we have an image that I shot in Africa, and of course we want to select this. Now, depending upon all the various tools that you have, it can take some time, even with a stylus, because we have fur or hair. Anything that isn't just a sharp, hard edge is time-consuming, right? Yeah. But again, with Intel, with Adobe, powered by Sensei, we can now simply come up to our select menu here. I'm going to choose Select Subject, and in seconds, something that could have taken minutes, boom, is now done. And we have a perfect selection. Every strand of hair, every piece of fur, the bird, preserved! Your minimal excitement says it all. Thank you, sir, in the row 3.
I'm still excited, though. I'm excited. Okay.
But why do we make selections anyway, GB?
I don't know. Why do we make selections,
Why do we make selections? Well, because we want to cut things out, right? We want to remove the background. We want to composite something into something else. So again, that's a multi-step process. And here we have an image of a flower with a bit of a soft edge. We've got some light leaks. We have some bokeh. So again, not fur, not hair, but a bit more challenging in terms of getting a refined edge, exactly, separated and isolated from the background. Well, leveraging AI, we now have the ability to not only make this a 2-step process, but make it a 1-step process with a single click, which you'll find inside of your Properties panel called Remove Background. I'm simply going to click on Remove Background, and just like that, it does that. I'm going to come up to my Edit menu here. Let's go into Transform, Scale, where I will simply scale down our little rows here, and you can see I've got some other branches growing inside of a cup right here. Yes. Thank you. Oh, don't hold back.
That's fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
No, and I said, you know, this is basically you guys leveraged OpenVINO.
Yes.
And the CPU acceleration to go drive this with Adobe Sensei, which is amazing.
Absolutely.
As somebody like I could maybe do this. Maybe.
You can absolutely do this.
But I know you also have a video example you wanted to show us that is using acceleration on the GPU with WinML.
Yes, and again, you know, this isn't only about speeding up creativity, but it's really allowing AI to be your creative concierge. I just came up with that. I'm not even quite sure what that means.
That's pretty good.
It's assisting you. It's taking your bags and getting you there. And it's going to do things for you faster and more efficiently so that you can deliver your content to your customers, to your viewers, to your followers, to anyone, anywhere. So here we have some video that was shot, some beautiful 4K, and I want to emphasize again, 4K playing in real time, full frame on this thin and light machine, powered by Intel and Adobe Sensei. And in this case, we want to deliver this maybe to one of our favorite social networks. But social networks have lots of different aspect ratios. You have square, you have 5:4, and you have vertical, very popular and commonplace now, found in services like Snapchat or Instagram Stories or TikTok. Well, the issue is, if we just exported this in a vertical frame from this widescreen frame, you're seeing that our skier is moving in and out of the center of the frame. So as an editor now, what that means is I have to go in here and I have to manually crop and reframe that video before I can export. And that's at a time loss to me. So, with Adobe Sensei now, powered by Intel, I can simply right-click on Auto Reframe. I can choose Auto Reframe Sequence, where now I have an option to choose a whole series of different aspect ratios. In this case, we're going to go to the standard vertical 9:16. I'm not even going to modify anything else. We're going to go with the defaults. And something that would have taken time, lots of time, done. Just like that. And it's not just analyzing the motion. It's not just analyzing faces. It's looking at region of interest. It knows what all of your people, all of your viewers, all of your followers, all of your customers want to see. Can you feel it?
All right. All right.
I feel my hair growing.
Stop. You're making me, now you're just rubbing it in. All right, with that, thanks, Jason. I appreciate it. Thanks, man.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Give him a hand. I love it. Oh my goodness, how do you follow that up? Well, hey, last year I told you that we would have 10th generation Core Ice Lake systems with AI in time for holiday. We kept that promise. And this year I'm happy to be back, and I'll make you another promise. I wanted to now introduce you to, for the first time anywhere, a great look at what will be our next and our newest Intel Core-based processors, codenamed Tiger Lake. Could you roll a video, please?
Welcome to a magical place. A place where the diverse engines of modern-day computing work side by side in perfect harmony. A place where CPU improvements drive double-digit performance gains. New advances of AI enhance real-world experiences for mobile PC users worldwide. And the unprecedented quality of Intel's new Xe architecture expands what's possible in the world of thin and light. All made even better by the blazing speeds of Thunderbolt 4 and Gigabit Plus. Welcome to Tiger Lake. Coming soon to a thin and light near you.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm pleased today to show you our new SoC, our newest next-gen Core mobile processor, codenamed Tiger Lake. I have that with me. In fact, Tiger Lake is powered on, it's working. It was in fact running the Horseshoe Bend demo that Chris Walker came out, the large screen foldable. It's running Tiger Lake. And with me in my hand, I also have our smallest U-Series motherboard for Tiger Lake that we developed in parallel, smallest U-Series motherboard we've ever done to drive industry-leading innovation and performance. So here they are. Okay. All right, now, Tiger Lake, we know, is going to really redefine the mobile computing spirits yet again, and I've got a guest who's really excited to talk about it. So please join me in welcoming on stage our Vice President of Intel Architecture, Graphics, and Software, Lisa Pierce. Lisa, come on out.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome. So hey, Tiger Lake is a really special platform. Some of that is because of huge performance gains on the CPU, and some of it's about graphics. Why don't you tell folks about it a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. So Tiger Lake is one of the first products with our new Xe graphics architecture. It is our most disruptive and advanced architecture yet. And so we're super excited. It brings gains in efficiency, also doubles the graphics performance versus the previous generation.
Right.
What does that mean? HD performance gaming for hundreds of millions of notebook users.
That's right, with integrated graphics, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, you got to get excited about that. So instead of just talking about it, you want to put it through the paces
let's do an
and show it a little
example.
bit?
So the system here is Tiger Lake running in an ultra thin and light system from Quanta. It's running the game Warframe, and you can see it looks pretty good.
It looks fantastic, and it's running real time right there with integrated graphics in that incredibly thin and light form factor Tiger Lake from Quanta.
Yep.
But it's not just about the performance you guys drove for gaming, which is amazing. It's also about media and AI and other things, right?
Absolutely. So gaming is just the start. We also have advancements in media and display capabilities, as well as AI improvements built in. And that really brings productivity use cases to light. And so an example of that, lots of people have low-resolution photos or blurry photos. And you can imagine if you can instantly correct those. And so Topaz Labs enabled an application we'll show you here. And so in the top right corner, this is the original photo. And then we've zoomed in because we really want to take a look at this eagle. And so
you've got a big photo. You've zoomed way in on the eagle, which now looks fuzzy because you zoomed all the way in. Right.
Looks pretty fuzzy.
Yeah.
And so if I go and select this here, it's going to use the OpenVINO framework to go and drive this improvement on Tiger Lake.
Right.
And so we'll take a look at it after, and you can see the difference between these two. Right?
Wow.
So it's awesome.
That's all done using AI acceleration on the GPU, which is great.
Absolutely.
No, that's fantastic. So just to recap for everyone, for me and you, since we're near the end, double-digit industry-leading performance, extending our leadership in mobile even further in high performance by double digits, and we're not talking 10%. We're doubling the graphics performance generation on generation, industry-leading AI performance, integrated Wi-Fi 6, integrated Thunderbolt 4 for the first time. That's just about it.
Yeah, and we're super excited to bring it to OEMs this summer.
All right, good. Hey, Lisa, thanks for joining me on stage. I appreciate it.
Well,
Whoa! Wait, you had one more surprise that you wanted to share.
Maybe one more.
All right,
one more thing.
Yeah.
So, one more thing.
Yeah.
I'm thrilled.
Yeah.
I didn't forget.
Yeah, that's okay.
I'm thrilled to share with you today our very first discrete graphics processor up and running. It's called DG1. So we'll give you a demo of DG1.
Yeah.
So this is DG1 here. It's been up here the whole time.
We're taking some risk. It's early days. You've got DG1 up here running on stage.
Correct. This is in a mobile form factor. It's running Destiny 2. And you can see, even though it's early, we're extremely excited about the gaming experience that we'll see on DG1.
That's right, and obviously more than just gaming too. For those more power mobile users in terms of doing content creation and other activities, it's going to be fantastic
Absolutely,
as well.
absolutely.
So thank you for staying on and also showing
thanks.
us DG1
We're super excited.
working.
A lot more to come this year.
All right, everybody, give her a hand.
Thank you so
Appreciate it. Okay, hey, and with that, I just want to thank you all for coming on behalf of Bob, Naveen, and myself. Thank you so much. You can count on Intel to continue building the positive benefits of compute-enabled intelligence that we think will enrich the lives of every person on the planet, and that's the whole purpose behind our mission at Intel. Thank you all very much. Have a fantastic CES. Thank you.
Okay, so you guys wanna watch Sony's live stream? Can someone send me a link in the chat, please? Yep, Intel is done, man. Intel is done. Yep, they announced the Tiger Lake stuff, but that's only for mobile. Yeah, Intel is just a joke at this point. Let's look for that Sony live stream. We are losing viewers. Okay. That's okay. I sent you link. Where? Send it in the chat. Send it in the chat, Muhammad. Stream. Login. Okay. Yep, most of the people already left, but like, we're still gonna stream Sony's event. I did twice. What? Oh, probably it's hold up. Here's link. I can't find it for some reason. Okay, is this it?
An interactive entertainment experience
Yep,
that
this
is
is live.
immersive
Okay.
and real-time. Another
Here's
form
the
of immersive real-time entertainment that Sony has
screen
focused on is sports.
Doesn't want to go in full
Sony
screen.
has long been at the forefront of live sports broadcasting at countless
Hold up.
world-class
I
events.
got the stream, but yeah, it doesn't want to go in full screen for some reason. Hold up, guys. Sorry, my internet is kind of bad. I need to switch the stream name to
Sony partnered with NBC
deal
Sports
with it, guys.
and Verizon.
It just doesn't want to go in full screen.
To conduct a proof of concept at a professional football game
Okay, I'll
in
try to find it
Houston,
on my mobile,
Texas.
then send it to the laptop.
Let's take a look at what we tested and what we learned.
Mobile and Imaging Products and Solutions divisions worked with Verizon to create a 5G professional video transmission system. The new system was trialed during a December 2019 football game with NBC Sports at NRG Stadium in Houston. Sony professional camcorders were outfitted with prototype 5G connected encoders. These encoders leverage
all the
Sony's
videos
mobile
I can
5G
find is, like,
capabilities
for
and
other
cutting-edge
people.
devices,
I
along
can't
with
find
Sony's
the
imaging
original
and professional solutions group's codec expertise. When teamed with Verizon's lightning-fast 5G network, a greater freedom of production was achieved, liberating
hold up,
cameras
I
from
need to-
fixed positions and eliminating the need for crews to set up cabling and infrastructure. This increased flexibility and easier setup, combined with outstanding picture quality and low latency, empowers a whole new level of production.
Now to talk a little more about how technologies can change the way we capture and deliver the
Sorry guys, but I
intersection
really
of a
can't go full
live
screen. I
sporting
don't know
event.
why. If someone could send it in the chat, I don't know why the bot is blocking your links. But if someone could send me a YouTube link in the chat, that would be great. Muhammad, if you can find the link, try to send it again. Ready or part 2 in 4. I'm still here. 3, 2, 1.
Let's welcome
Yeah,
to the
I
stage
really can't,
CTO
guys,
of
sorry.
NBC Sports, David
Yeah,
Matka.
for some reason it just doesn't want to go full screen. It just doesn't. I don't know why.
Good to see you. Dave, thank you very much for joining us today. First, Can you share some behind-the-scenes stories from the stage?
That's the
Yeah,
best
well,
that I can
thank
do.
you, Ken, for inviting me here today. I'm super glad I get to talk about our relationship with Sony, which has gone back for many years. And I think a lot of people may not be aware that for years,
I don't know, Muhammad.
Sony has been
Muhammad
helping
is just-
broadcasters
he
in the
just
content
doesn't
creation
wanna
side.
come up.
Well, thank you for
I don't
mentioning
know
that.
why.
As you just heard, we tested 2 5G connected cameras at a recent NFL game.
I believe the bot is
Now, we've been
blocking
using wireless cameras in sports broadcasting for almost 40 years, if you can believe that.
Yeah.
But it's always taken a
the bot is blocking
proprietary
it,
antenna systems and a complicated infrastructure that was quite cumbersome to install at each and every instance that we used it. This was not something you did at the last minute. Now, with the introduction of the Sony Xperia 5G
Yeah, I did, but
camera,
I can only find
the flexibility
other
and the
people's live stream.
ease
I
of
can't
deploying
find
a
the
wireless
Sony one.
camera is exciting to us because
So we'll
it
have, like,
involves simply
a
clipping
second
on
guy.
a 5G wireless pack from Sony
Second
onto the
guy
back of one of our
literally
existing
talking over me.
cameras and then delivering great broadcast quality pictures to our mobile units over the cellular network, which is going to be a tremendous help to us.
Going a little harsh on
Well,
Muhammad.
that's great. From a
He wants to
technology
help, but I
perspective,
don't know why
how do you
the
think sports
link
entertainment
doesn't want to come
is
up.
going to evolve in the
But
future?
he's
Well, I think as expectations of the consumer evolves, we continue to have to evolve with them. This includes taking advantage of some of the consumer technologies, which you're going to see here on the floor this week, and also the
I just
gaming
need to
techniques that the
switch
younger
the
kids are
title of the
growing
live
up with.
stream.
We also continue to grow the use of AR for the presentation of graphics on screen, and volumetric steerable virtual cameras, which we use both for replays and for second screen activity. And of course, on the output side, we keep adapting for the multi-screen viewing, streaming, and small bite-sized chunks of programming. But some of the most striking effects continue to be in the camera and in its movement and position. And they're actually quite simple. We'll take a look at some of them here. The continued growth of high frame rate cameras really add to the experience where you see a very fluid motion that helps to engage the viewer in the competition field. Then you get to POV cameras. They give you a sense of speed and presence in cameras in places we never thought possible. And flying cameras like the wired Skycam that you see so frequently now in big sporting events, and then drones which have become so popular in the last 5 years. They both give you a sense of motion that we used to only be able to see in big major market films, but we now can afford to do that in sports television. The most recent thing we've been working on is the development of the workflows around ultra high definition and high dynamic range. And then we derive the SDR pictures from those higher quality pictures. And that is the way we can bring this new technology affordably to our production. So we're excited about that. And when I look back, Ken, to when HD and surround sound first started, we used to say, we're trying to give our audience the best seat in the house. However, in the last few years, we've modified that statement, and now we say, let's make the experience even better than being there. And I can honestly say, Ken, we could not achieve that without Sony's help.
That's great. At Sony, we are trying to get closer to both creators and users. You are a creator in sports entertainment. My last question is, what kind of expectation do you have about Sony's contribution in this area?
Well, we've been partners with Sony for nearly 2 decades, and over time we've come to rely on Sony for 3 things. 1, paramount picture quality. There's just no equal here between the image capture and the compression and recording technologies that allow things like 5G live transmission and the migration to UHD and HDR. There's no compare. Secondly, reliability. None of the excellent pictures would mean anything if we could not reliably produce them in indoor, outdoor, and oftentimes extreme conditions. Sony product just works, and it's one less thing we have to worry about on a very large-scale sporting event.
I'm glad to hear that.
Muhammad.
And thirdly, support.
I got
Sony is
Hold
unmatched in helping us manage these massive deployments across the venues of these international events. Their engineers come on site with us oftentimes for 40 days. And in addition to helping keep the Sony product working, which is rare that they have an issue, they even pitch in and help keep the other vendors' products working, which I think defines teamwork.
Thank you, Dave. It was great to have you here tonight.
And I look forward to showing you our broadcast center in your hometown of Tokyo.
Yes, see you then.
This summer.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, hold up, guys, hold up. Please switch into
we showed how Sony is working with our partners, bring an even more exciting real-time entertainment experience.
Hold up, guys, hold up. Sorry for the inconvenience. Really sorry. Thank you, Muhammad, by the way. Ah, for fuck's sake. Sorry, guys, hold up, hold up.
Also bring about positive social and environmental impacts.
Okay, enjoy,
Today,
guys.
And in the age of self-driving cars, safety continues to be an essential aspect of mobility. Sony will focus on supporting safety in mobility
Again, thanks, Muhammad.
with world-class imaging and sensing technologies. And by doing so, we believe we can contribute to making a positive impact on society. Let's take a look at the video, which shows the strengths of our technologies.
Safety Cocoon is a concept for enhancing car safety. Sony's world-class CMOS image sensor technologies enable the position of objects to be instantly detected, even in driving scenarios where existing sensors for automotive cameras struggle. Our solid-state LiDAR uses highly accurate distance measurement to gain a precise 3D grasp of real-life spaces. This also leads to improved recognition capability for long-distance objects. Sensor fusion delivers greater capabilities by merging sensors of varied attributes. However, conventional sensor fusion has faced problems with accuracy. Initial detection was conducted separately by each sensor, and the reduction of data caused inaccurate object detection. Furthermore, if the detection results from each sensor were inconsistent, the system could not properly recognize the object, even when the results were integrated. Sony's sensor fusion uses raw data to extract and integrate the optimal amount of object features. This significantly improves recognition accuracy, even in challenging conditions, such as rain, fog, and backlight. TOF in-cabin sensing uses distance measurement technology to detect and recognize people and objects inside the car. This information is used to provide an optimized infotainment system with intuitive user interfaces and to improve safety and comfort inside the vehicle. Our sights are set on the future age of autonomous driving.
As you just saw, we are working to provide a wide range of technologies that can act as super fast and intelligent eyes of a car. Our sensors gather information about the road and surroundings environment in real time. They also help the vehicles process timely and accurate information, anticipate potential hazards, and avoid accidents, even in the toughest conditions. As shown here, we are already seeing positive results. We will keep leading the industry with our imaging and sensing technologies that go a step beyond. Sony's contribution in the field of mobility is not exclusive to the technology of safety. We believe that evolution of mobility will also redefine cars as a new entertainment space, where passengers can be immersed in the content thereof. We will accelerate our efforts to contribute to the future of mobility and a new initiative named Vision S, and to deepen our understanding of cars in terms of their design and technologies. We gave a shape to our vision. This prototype embodies our contribution to the future of mobility and contains a variety of Sony's technologies. There are 33 sensors to monitor the outside and inside of the car, proving the viability of sensing features and the capabilities of Sony's solutions. Regarding the entertainment aspect, one of our new offerings for in-car entertainment is 360 reality audio, for you to truly enjoy an immersive audio experience. It also comes with an intuitive human math interface with a wide screen that displays various driving information and entertainment content. Another concept that informs the development of this prototype is adaptability, based on the software-oriented design. The vehicle seamlessly integrates with the cloud and continually update its capabilities through always-on connectivity. And this prototype is built on a newly designed EV platform, allowing for future applications in other vehicle types, such as SUVs. The creation of this prototype would not have been possible without the knowledge and the cooperation of our partners in the automotive industry, including Magna Steyr, who supported us on the engineering of the vehicle. So I'd like to express my sincere gratitude to all of our partners listed here. We will continue to pursue the Vision S initiative, focusing on safety, entertainment, and adaptability. Today, we have shared our upcoming products and technologies in the audio-visual domain. We have showcased the evolution of PlayStation with its next-generation platform and continuing commitment to immersive gaming experience. We have shared how exciting partnerships will help us lead as innovators in the area of sports entertainment and 5G. And we have given you a glimpse of what's to come in mobility. We are committed to making a meaningful contribution to society, and we are excited about the road ahead of us. And we, Sony, will continue to evolve as a creative entertainment company with a solid foundation of technology. Thank you, and have a great CES.
Bravia Master Series are absolutely spectacular. When I saw what the image looks like, I was blown away.
Combining the human feel of the performance with the advances of technology, being able to evolve the way that the listener gets to immerse is a really powerful thing.
This camera gets the job done for the highest professional level of shooting.
We're reaching capabilities we haven't reached before.
This stream is gonna get copyrighted towards the end.
Cheryl Goodman, Head of Corporate Social Responsibility and Corporate Communications for Sony Electronics, and welcome to Sony CES 2020 Post-Press Conference panel. This panel is going to address our CE products, services, platforms, and innovations under Sony Electronics in the North America market. We're also going to touch on the power of diversity and innovative environments and how Sony stands out in a few of these areas with the Sony Innovation Fund, our ecosystem with Sony Pictures and Sony TV, and how all of this adds up to a win for you, the Sony fan. Before we get started, I'm going to give you an intro of all of our guests, and most important on this roster is Mike Fasulo, President and COO of Sony Electronics. He is also Chairman of the Board with the CTA. He's a 35-year exec with Sony, with the last 6 years in the top spot. And he's led the organization through many pivotal changes, but his claim to fame really is year-over-year profits in the last 5, actually 6 years in his leadership. And he has also made Sony Electronics North America a great place to work and has many awards to that end to prove it. So welcome, Mike.
Well, thank you, Cheryl.
Our next guest is Damon John. This is the People's Shark. I don't even think you need an introduction, but for the live stream, let's go through this really awesome roster of who Damon John is. He is the CEO and founder of Fubu. This is a celebrated global lifestyle brand, a $6 billion company in sales. He's one of the country's most viable and respected entrepreneurs and a New York Times bestseller for 5 books, I believe?
5 books.
5 books?
No, I'm working on my 5th, sorry.
Working on the 5th.
Yeah, 4 already.
That's right, Power Shift.
Yes, Power Shift.
Power Shift coming out in March of 2020. But we can go on and on with all of the awards here, but we are so glad you're here to talk about innovation and entrepreneurship.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me.
And last but not least is Dr. Daniela Braga. She is CEO and founder of Defined Crowds, Sony's innovations first funded startup in year 2016, I believe it was. And she is really leading AI in the most positive way. And she's going to tell us how we're going to be more efficient and how the consumer is going to win, but also walk down the challenges of AI as this grows. But before we get into this great discussion with these 3 folks, let's take a look down onto the excitement of the show floor. And so what you're going to be looking at here is 1,100 confirmed press and analysts all over the show floor, interacting and checking out the greatest and latest from Sony Corporation and partners. We take a tremendous amount of pride in that booth, and the booth staff is consistently winning awards. Live stream audience, we wish you were here, but we're glad you're tuned in. It is worth noting that this year's booth is different from the past if you've been here before. The balance of innovation is really focused forward on technology. But of course, as Mike is pleased, you're going to see a lot of stuff that's going to be on retail shelves in spring, and we're going to talk about those TV categories as well. So, with that, let's kick off this party with Sony North America COO and President, Mike Fasulo. Mike, as the head of Sony Electronics, we touched on 3 major categories today: 5K, 5G rather, 8K, AI, OMG. What's your favorite?
Well, I love all my children.
You do,
right?
yes,
so
you do.
it's hard to pick a favorite, but so many cool and interesting announcements tonight. Ken talks about Sony being a creative entertainment company, and folks think of entertainment, as movies, pictures, gaming, et cetera. But across consumer electronics as well, a tremendous amount of introductions. The car was just crazy.
Yeah. Do you like that?
I love it.
And when you think about this show being the world's largest technology and innovation show, what really we're talking about is an ecosystem, right? Like, how does technology be the foundation for creators? Yeah, right. These folks are the creators.
Right.
They're the most important people on the panel. So I think people got a glimpse of Sony beyond the devices, although near and dear to my heart are the devices. And one of the pivotal or key instrumental components across many of this is our great know-how in image sensors.
Right.
Whether it's autonomous driving, we call it safety cocoon, right? So Ken also talks about AI for social responsibility.
Right.
What does that mean? One example was the car.
Right.
So 32 sensors inside and out. Think about if it wasn't an autonomous driving, somebody is driving, they're nodding off, the sensor can detect. The sensors have better visibility than our eyes.
Yeah.
Light doesn't affect it, right? Low light to high to dark light doesn't affect the sensor. So we think about it in a much broader perspective. But to answer your question straightforward, I have to get the 8K TV.
Yeah, the 8K TV is definitely, as you like to say, seeing is believing.
Seeing is believing.
So live
Although
stream,
this alpha camera is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty darn cool, but we really wish that live stream audience could be here and see that in person, but take Mike's word for it. The TVs are absolutely amazing. I want to segue a bit, Mike. You talked about sensors and the acuity to see better than the human eye. And Damon, I've just learned of an experience that you've had recently with detection of cancer 2 years ago, I believe it was.
Sure.
And I'd like to talk a bit about the role that technology plays in preventing disease and ensuring safety, but specifically through image sensors. Something was detected in your throat. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, so I went and got, and this is what I love about coming to the show and work with Sony, because, everybody up here in these chairs and probably watching and in the audience are way more smarter than me when it comes to technology. But I'm the end user at the end of the day, and somehow it's going to benefit and improve my life and the life of others that I love. I went and got an executive physical a couple of years ago, and they were scanning my body, and they checked here with the what's the vein here?
Carotid.
Carotid vein, right? To see if there was any clogging in it, potentially so can reduce the having a stroke. But they saw there was a nodule on my thyroid, and I go in and of course, they take a biopsy, and they say 90% of the chance we're going to be able to find out what it is. But there's a 10% chance we won't know what it is. What do you think happens to me? The 10% chance we don't know what it is.
Hey, you're a lucky guy, right?
They sit there and look at me and say, listen, 50% chance you're going to take out a perfectly good thyroid, and 50% chance you're going to take out something that is dangerous.
Right.
I had stage 2 cancer in my body for 4 years. It was the size of a golf ball that I didn't know I had.
Wow.
And when you look at stuff like AI that's much better than the human eye that can sense these type of things, it's going to save lives.
Significant.
When you're looking at people who are trying to study being, or practicing being an aesthetic welder, where there's so many challenges with that, or people who are going to schools that may not have enough money to have the proper mannequins to work on for cosmetic surgeries and things of that nature. The first time they start cutting people open, there's a lot of risk at hand, and you want them to be able to learn with AI and be able to be as efficient as they can to reduce the potential challenges other people are going to have. And that's why I think this is not only about entertainment, which I love the fact that Sony has all these other aspects, but it's changing lives and it's saving lives, and I think that's valuable to me.
and it's total contribution of social value, technology solving social problems. And we just happen to be really entertained by what you do and what you solve for entrepreneurs worldwide. And speaking of entrepreneurs and worldwide, and also AI, Dr. Braga, talk a little bit about this cancer detection. We know that human eye, that algorithms are smarter, or let's say more efficient than the human eye in other ways. I'd love your thoughts on this.
So on the 30% that you mentioned, that all this probability is a data problem still. Yeah. My company works is a training data platform for AI. We collect or structure, depends whether the clients already have the data or not, and then if they don't, we structure. Imagine millions of samples of images, cancer images that need to be annotated by experts. So a lot of the times, what happens is that there's not enough samples of the outliers. Mm-hmm. And the problem also, so that's the importance of data. The other problem is making it available for the common good, not having just certain organizations or enterprises or governments having it. Right. That's the other thing, especially when it's for the common good. And the importance of that is that while people make mistakes, machines don't, which comes back to the autonomous driving. Right. And this is why it's a good idea in theory, because people make mistakes. People are unpredictable. Machines are not. Right. So it's all a data problem, and the fact of combining so many brains together with the power of computing right now is what makes this possible and revolutionizing in our...
That's wonderful. So, and let's take a step back. Let's tell the world in our live stream what Defined Crowd does, what problems that you solve for the industry, and then we're going to talk about how you recruit your talent and how you lead your organization. But give us a high level.
So so artificial intelligence is the simulation of a human brain, but artificially, right? And we learn with experiences and school and information. And machines learn the same way, but that's called data. Except that the difference with artificial intelligence is that we can parallelize all the millions of brains combined. What we take really, literally a lifetime to learn, computers can learn it right now in the space of a week. Right. And it's all down to data. So our company works in the field of speech, natural language processing, and computer vision, which is basically data that is text, voice, video, image, and the combinations of both to train virtual assistants, vision by computer systems, and in the communication, because it's language related to, in the covering 50 languages in 70 countries. We do this by bringing the power of the crowd. Mm-hmm. And the crowd is not necessarily just people all over the world. It's experts. It depends on the field we're working on. It's defined crowd. It depends on the field we're dealing with. Right. And so that's also interesting because we kind of are in the field of replacing certain jobs for the new AI applications, but by bringing the future of work of the crowd. Our crowd is right now 300,000 people globally. They get qualified. They work on the go. Yeah.
Well, I can say that Sony was certainly very interested in you in 2006, and I'll restate, it was the first company that Sony had funded through the Sony Innovation Fund. And another really nice attribute as we start to think about the social impact of AI is that as a female founder, you were able to secure some pretty significant funding. So I'd like to just take a pause here and have our cameras reflect the Sony purpose and value. This is our statement of how we run our company. So we have a lot of products, services, solutions, and innovations, but they're all rooted in what our purpose and value is. So it comes back to how we innovate, how we fund, the talent that we have that train entrepreneurs, and the leadership that we have that is award-winning nonetheless. So with that, if our viewing audience was able to see that, I want to now talk about that power of diversity and inclusion and your road and your journey as a female founder securing that funding and retaining, as I understand it, 40% female engineers in your organization.
40% of the people in my company are women. Which in our field, well, I've been in the corporate world for 20 years, and just tech was 20% at Microsoft, for example. In AI, it's 5%. My company has 42% of women and growing. We don't necessarily go after them. We give the same opportunities to everyone.
Right.
And that's what they feel coming here, is that everyone is given the same chance, instead of really you're already out of the cut because you will not get the speed of the ladder or whatever that is.
Right. And maybe I'd love for all of our panelists to talk about the power of culture when you need to hire and then you need to retain or you need to get that entrepreneur excited or to the next level. Talk about the importance of culture. And I'll just throw out a quote I heard about you, Damon, is that you don't invest in companies, you invest in people.
I invest in people, and I think that, you know, I mean, let's look at this panel right now. That, you know, after you've seen all this amazing stuff that Sony's rolling out, and we're here making it a point to talk about diversity, right? So other people and other companies can say maybe we should reflect what they're doing. But let's look at Shark Tank. It was a show that, you know, Sony decided to bring, and I've been part of Sony now 11 years on ABC, but it's a show that started off with people that nobody knew. And everybody said, you know what, the ratings were not as good at the beginning because they said, we need athletes and actresses and famous people, and Sony said, no, you know what, all those people are great, but they do what they do best, but we need people that not necessarily everybody knows, but we know they're going to roll up their sleeves and they're going to get into the business. And we're going to have African Americans, we're going to have females. And as they started to grow, the show started to grow a little bit, they said, you know what, this doesn't reflect the count of one woman on the panel with 4 guys. Let's put 2 women on the panel to reflect how a little bit better. Also, the African Americans, we're going to bring more on, like, you know, Troy Carter and various other things. And they stuck with us through our entire, all the years, and it grew. And the public saw that and respected it. So you start to work with partners that you see executing in that way. So whether it's gender, whether it's race, color, creed, veterans, whatever the case is, you start to make people want to do that for others, right? And so it's a prime example of how diversified they are, and their believing and their execution in believing.
Right, and I think that's part of that winning formula of success that Sony uniquely has. And Mike, I know you got a lot to say here.
Well, I'm learning. I'm sitting here learning. You know, if I kind of summarize what I heard from both of you, which is just so impressive, it's about authenticity, right? And or retaining 42%.
42%.
That means you have an engaged community of employees, right? I shouldn't say it's easy. Nothing is easy, but recruiting isn't the most difficult part. Engaging and including is the most difficult part, and that has to come with authenticity.
Right.
And you know, it's you got to work it sometimes. I mean, it just isn't naturally how we got to where we are today. So sometimes you have to.
You got to be a corporate citizen sometimes, and and we're all still learning, but they're making the effort to learn.
That's true. And being aware, I think at the end of the day, if you acknowledge, you may not have the solution on the outset, but if you acknowledge the problem, I think that's the first step for many companies.
Yeah, for me, diversity is thought, minds, brains.
Cognitive, yes.
Right? The cognitive, and it comes in all shapes, sizes, colors, genders, right? So why not?
Right.
I mean,
and I
why not?
suppose, why not, Mike, is what is the penalty of not having cognitive diversity? In AI, which is based in algorithms and systems and labels and processing, we know that tech companies have, in the past, stepped on diverse groups using algorithms. So it's really important. Tell us what Defined Crowd does in that space.
So again, the problem is the world is diverse. The consumers are diverse. But oftentimes, enterprises, when they design products, because they're designed by men and white men, they forget all the rest of the population that will have to, they will be their buyers, their consumers as well. Then there's also a chicken and egg problem because in certain cases, let's say apply for mortgages in banks in US. If women traditionally haven't given that opportunity, you don't have the data. You just don't have the data to do that. We don't work in that field, but what Define Crowd does is being able to simulate data in the language and vision space for collected from real people, paid. This is paid. It's completely it's data that people know how they're engaging with us as a contract, but at the same time simulating data that otherwise we wouldn't have access to.
Right.
And that's the way we bootstrap models, by targeting different segments, different dialects, different social groups, different countries.
Right.
This way we prevent bias and we can work around the problem of data privacy in cultures and countries of the globe that we know that it's so hard to get around.
And I think you have a big and important job, and I'm glad it's you and not me, because that sounds very difficult, but important nonetheless. We're going to shift gears just a little bit. Yoshida-san, our global CEO, talked often about communities of interest. And Damon, I want to focus this question on you. As media has been democratized, there's no longer just the three networks, right, and cable. Everyone is a producer, everyone is a media expert, or so they say. You are an entrepreneur, you equip folks. What do you think is in the entrepreneur's tool bag as they go to promote their wares and maybe do podcasts and to get out there and try and be a Damon John?
Yeah, well, listen, it's speed, right? You're not necessarily. I didn't make the most creative thing in the world. I made a T-shirt, but it was my ability to get it out to the market as fast as possible.
I heard that's called the Damon effect.
Yeah,
Gary Vee calls it the Damon effect, right?
But everybody today is a brand personally, and they're sharing their information. And it's the ability of Sony to capture this information, especially when things like 5G are coming around. Right? I can simultaneously communicate with a designer and somebody else on the other side of the planet, where it would have taken me a week. Right? And I can get that information out. And so everybody now has it in the power of their hand to beat the competition, the big boys, the big girls, out immediately if they can capture it in a clear way. And now you're bringing around AI to give you the analytics to say, basically, we don't need focus groups anymore, right? So this is the best time in the world to be an entrepreneur, somebody living, because of technology coming around like this that gives you, it almost makes it an even playing field.
Yeah, no, for sure. And then Mike, if you were to put something in that entrepreneur tool bag, what do you think they need? I see a few things that I think are key, some alpha cameras, noise canceling headsets.
Well, since you said entrepreneur, and I've read Rise and Grind.
That's a great book.
I think it's about scrappy, right?
It is.
Oh, yes. There's that word, my favorite word.
Not quite IBO, but
so whether you're working as an entrepreneur or an intrapreneur in a corporation, you got to be scrappy.
Yeah, you do. When you mentioned taking this on 6 years ago and immediately moving to profitability, I changed my title. I got promoted to president. I was like so excited, went home and bragged and everything. And internally, I changed it to GSD.
Oh yeah, get stuff
done. Right? Your title
sometimes it's
matter.
stuff.
Yeah.
But startups, entrepreneurs, turnarounds, that's what you need to do. You just you need to get scrappy. You need to roll up your sleeves and do whatever it takes. And when you do, you come out with some wonderful items.
Yeah.
Well, I have all these products. I love IBO. Again, it's saving me time. I don't have to walk anything. I don't have to clean up any poop. My daughter loves it. She goes to sleep with them every night. I keep telling her to put her back on the charger. She won't. I have the noise canceling headphones, and I do a lot of my podcasts and filming with the camera. So these are products that I really believe in.
Yeah, no, that
it
is
makes my life easier.
Yes, and well, you make us very happy. And speaking of happy, this
he's
guy's ready. He's ready to rock and roll around, and he is full of wonderful AI activities. So we're going to talk a little bit more about technology again. Yoshida-san also mentioned volumetric capture, and this is an amazing technology. It was launched last year. Shark Tank was the first set to actually have this come to fruition. And in a nutshell, I'll read through exactly what it is so we're all on the same page about what that means. But I know, Mike, that you personally can see the value of volumetric capture and the ability to radically change the way sets are done and virtual insertion of people. You probably not getting on a plane from LA to New York every time there's a shoot. So would love for you guys to chat about that volumetric capture technology.
Well, you know, I'll let Mike talk about it from a technology standpoint or delivery standpoint, but again, you know, if it saves money and time, right?
Yeah.
You know, if I had a studio only available to me for 1 or 2 days, and now I have to cram a lot of different situations into there. If I can shoot, you know, my entire series or whatever the case is in 1 month there, and reduce my costs, reduce the time of flying and things of all those natures, it just makes it way more efficient. It really cuts down it would probably cut down anywhere from 50 to 60% of cost and or work and energy and time and effort. And again, it gives you more time to do the other things you want to advance on.
Yeah.
These are just really important. I mean, they're just game-changing things. And I'll tell you, I actually didn't know it was being done until I saw I saw the show and I was like, where's that other studio? And then they finally told me.
And you're like, it's in a software somewhere, but it's basically virtual production using 3D, right? And so you're virtually inserting. And so this is the wonder and amazement of Sony, from tremendous design, 4,000 moving parts of an AI bot, Aibo, who won Best of CES 2 years ago and continues to be a winning technology platform, and actually an open platform. That's the magic and power of Sony, right? We have phenomenal consumer electronics that are leading edge with 8K TVs, great talent on Sony TV, and of course Sony Innovation Fund. So I'm going to ask the panelists to talk about what the most important thing that they think in the future of technology is, whether it is consumer electronics, equipping entrepreneurs, or AI. And jump in, whoever wishes to.
Well, I think it's access to information and learning much faster. I mean, today, and with AI too. Now that is a dangerous thing if we don't, if we're not educated to do that, right? But that's for me. The whole AI revolution is here to stay. It's like the electricity revolution. It's not going to go back. Once you try it, we can't go back, really. It's going to affect all our areas of life. We work on the human-computer interaction area, but it will be in the either it's going to be in the education, in the healthcare diagnosis, in the retail, the way we experience shopping. Everything is going to be powered by AI.
It is here to stay, and this revolution, different than industrial revolution, different than others.
Yeah.
It covers many more areas, right? Mm-hmm. In the past, it was mobility or a single area of evolution or revolution, but this one covers. I think it's people. I think it comes down to people, and if you look at the opportunity for people going forward, one of the biggest challenges we have in America, in the United States, is it's not unemployment; it's skilled workforce. Right? What an opportunity with, you said education, with all of this new technology, with AI, with computing, with innovation, entrepreneurs explaining how to get it done, how to win at the game, right? What a great opportunity to take our workforce we have today and skill them. Cheryl mentioned I work with the CTA, Consumer Technology Association. I'm actually chairman of it this year. And one of the things we're doing is called apprenticeship. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't necessarily mean it's kids out of school. It could be, but it could be people. It could be moms coming back into the workplace that want to be reskilled on something new and exciting, or somebody in one field wants to change to another field. And working together as an industry with technology, we have that ability. People get so nervous that technology is going to put people out of work. I think it's just the opposite. Our responsibility is to train them.
And I think it's two aspects. I think the number one and the most important thing is that because life is so delicate, it is saving lives, number one. I don't know how, your kids, but every one of us, I believe, when my daughter first drove her car at 16 years old, I couldn't sleep, right? Or our parents, we're going to take care of our parents two times longer than they would have taken care of us. And when they're elderly, they may not be able to be as mobile. and they're driving, I can't sleep.
I hope my kids
Right?
agree with that when I get.
I hope so too. But so it's saving lives,
Yeah,
right?
it
With
is.
stuff like that, or letting me know I have cancer a little bit early, or things like that. And then the next part is, as he said already, it's changing lives. It's giving open platforms for people to contribute.
Right.
It is being the first to invest in a woman-owned, company like that. It is giving entrepreneurs a stage to stand on, to say, here I am,
Yeah.
Shark Tank world. And whether you sharks invest in me or not, somebody's going to know who I am.
Yeah.
So I just think it is saving lives first, and it's changing lives as well.
That's such a great answer, and I so truly believe that. And I was going to wrap this show, but I just remembered I have a dying, burning platform question for you about your mom as the original angel investor.
Absolutely.
She's your startup, your backer. Can you talk to us a little bit about?
Well, first of
about
all,
that?
moms are the ultimate entrepreneur, no matter what. They bring this life into this world, and then I don't care what
true.
book you read, you
The
can't go
ultimate
place by place by place to grow this kid. You got to figure this thing out.
Right.
So they're the ultimate entrepreneurs, right? That's why, of course, I think that there should be more women
Yeah.
in the entrepreneurial space and workforce, because being an entrepreneur is really easy in comparison to being a mother.
Right.
But yes, first angel investor ever in my education, in regards to raising me and my morals, and then also risking everything to that's what moms do.
Yeah, it's a great
So,
story.
absolutely.
And absolutely just amazing. Okay, so last question here, and I'm going to hand this one over to you, Danielle. It really talks about how we can better represent innovators and through gender. And actually, really, anyone can comment on this, is that we know that cognitive diversity makes better products, makes for better services and platforms, but how do we close the gap? What do we do there? And Danielle, you seem like you've hit a stride there in some ways.
Making sure that the designers of technology, as well as the people that contribute for the data, as well as the target population that we're looking at, is all represented.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a big fan that right now we're really it's such a new thing that we're really defining the standards, and it's like right now we almost need a coalition of representation from each side of, whether it's the government, whether it's the enterprises, whether it's the scientists, and whether it's the consumers, but everybody contributing, or the citizens contributing to what it should look like, because I'm a big optimistic person on the future of AI. In 2-3 decades, nobody will even remember what is 2020 today.
Right.
Everything will be so automated, and people will be able to really be doing, like you said, the new type of skill sets that allow us humans to be more creative and not be doing the repetitive tasks
Right.
and the dangerous tasks that we may fail on because we make mistakes. Humans make
So
mistakes.
it's all a win, and I think at the end of the day is we have to model in order for the up and comers. They have to see themselves on the stage in terms of leadership. They have to emulate that. So this panel is doing a great job in terms of mentoring the world. I would say it's a stellar panel, and I'm just going to leave with this one comment. I know I keep saying one last question, but I could go all night long. You probably don't want to. But last question is leadership in technology. Sheryl Sandberg of Lean In often talks about taking a seat at the table. I think you guys built the table. I think you brought the table, right? You built platforms, you made it happen. I think Mike does that every day. Maybe just talk a little bit about that, and then we'll close this show down. Building the table, building platforms for people.
Yeah, I would say that if you don't build a table, you will create the other Damon John who will be your competitor. I became the competitor because I wasn't allowed at the table, right?
Right.
And so you have to make the people in your system feel comfortable. I was consulting a top 100 company, and what they did was fascinating. They brought all 300 of their C-suite executives together, and they said, listen, I want to know your 2022 vision. Well, I'm going to put you all in groups of 10. We're going to have a little Shark Tank thing here, right? And if you agree on this, you're going to be the one. You write the budgets, right? We're going to go with your 2022 plan. You know what they found? They would put retail in there with attorneys and brand experts. They found the attorneys came up with the best ideas. Because they said, wait a minute, you know what? By the time it gets to us, it's so fully baked that I have to chop this thing up. Why don't you bring me in the beginning?
Right.
And so you'll find out diversity is not only, and everybody doesn't need to be put in a box. And if you allow them to have this platform to speak, which you're allowing the world to have a platform to speak, and also Sony's allowing internally to, then you're going to get diversity. But if not, you're going to create the next competitor.
Right.
Because they're going to say it's not being done and somebody's got to build it.
Is good biz.
Yeah. I mean, I always fall back on mom and culture and respect, right? So
respect.
not everyone knows how to get a seat at the table.
Right, that's
so
true.
why not help them?
Right, that's true.
Why not make it an environment that encourages ask questions rather than give answers?
Right.
Or make it one that is engaging and authentic, right? I mean, there's so many great minds out there, so many great thoughts, so many great innovations to come. But if we don't ask, then it's the white man over 40 talking.
Right, right.
I'm just going to add that the miserabilistic speech of that I actually, to be honest, I come from Europe. I came to the US 8 years ago with Microsoft. I got here. I thought that there was a world of opportunity to actually take the table. But all the speech around me, mostly by women, was we have been in this terrible world of patriarchism. And yes, while this is all true, if there's a place where there's an opportunity to take it, but you gotta take it by force.
Yes.
But and it's here. Other places you may try to take it, and the whole society falls on you.
Right.
So just to put things in perspective, yes, it takes 3 times more to a woman to take the place, to take the table. But if you actually do it, you can.
Yeah. I heard a little Damon John in there, a little rise and grind, a little power broke. I mean,
power shift.
Power shift.
Yeah.
I mean, you got
That's
all the
exactly the point of my next book. It is really taking back that power that you thought you didn't have, or you thought somebody took from you, or you didn't know you had.
Yeah, and March 2020.
March 2020.
Power shift. Okay. Well, speaking of shift, we got a shift, and it makes me sad because this is an epic panel of leaders. And so thank you so much for watching Sony's live stream. You can also download our Sony Events app to learn more, but please do visit sony.com/CES to gain all the assets for this fabulous show here at Sony's 2020 press conference and post panel. Thanks for your time.
Okay, so that was the most boring thing I've ever watched in my life. Cool. Okay, let me give you a sneak peek at my next video. While you're here, guys, let me just open Premiere. I'm sick, as you can tell by my voice. Intel was boring, but Sony was more boring. I don't know if that's just because I came late. I don't know. But anyways, here's a sneak peek at my next video. Coming tomorrow, hopefully. It's building an S server with 512 megabytes of RAM. It's really cool. Yeah, you'll love it. No voice because I'm sick and I can't speak, so I'm doing subtitles. Yeah, but at some point at the end, here's the NAS benchmark. We are getting like 11 megabytes up and down. So that's cool. Okay, guys, I'm go to sleep. It's 4 a.m. here. Okay, is there anything else we can watch? Okay, good night, guys. Good night. I'm done. I can't. Good night, guys.